Fright Night from 2011, the remake of the classic Tom Holland film. Listen, this movie is not that bad, and today I'm going to break down exactly why it's not that bad. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, let's talk about the Rotten Tomatoes scores of the original and the remake. The original has a critic score of 83% versus an audience score of 77%. Pretty solid, and you could say consistent. The remake has a critic score of 72% and a audience score of 59%. A little less consistent, and overall, I remember a pretty negative reaction to this movie when it came out. These days, I've seen a few people come around on it, but still not many. Does everyone still hate this movie? Or can we rewatch it and realize how great it is, please? So let's talk about the positives of Fright Night 2011. The cast, okay? Listen, I know it's not the original, right? We're not even necessarily trying to compare it yet. We'll do that later. But Anton Yelchin, this is a legendary actor, guys. He was taken away from us, too. We needed that guy around because he could act. I would say, personally, my favorite role of his is in Green Room, but I also love him in this. Then you have Colin Farrell. This is an actor that, growing up, I didn't like. I did not care for Colin Farrell. I thought he was lame. I was like, I don't get it. I reached a certain point around 2015, I want to say, where I was like, you know what? Colin Farrell's not that bad.
You don't mind my saying you got a lot on your shoulders for a kid. The two of you, alone, and your girl, Amy, she's ripe. I bet there's a line of guys dying to pluck that.
I was still on the hate streak when I saw this originally, and that might have contributed to how I felt when I saw this originally, because I'll be honest, when I saw this in theaters originally, I was not a fan. I only bought it over the summer again and revisited it. Finally got around to making this video, because my feelings have completely changed, so you need to go back and check it out. Rounding out the cast, you also have Christopher Mintz-Plasse, McLovin basically, playing Evil Ed, and that's excellent recasting if you ask me. Like, he is great in this role, and his comic relief, pretty positive for the time, I will say.
That is a terrible vampire name, Jerry.
I didn't name him, man. I'm just reporting the facts. He kills, he feeds, and he doesn't stop until everybody around him is dead. And I seriously am so angry you think I read Twilight.
Then you've got Toni Collette, horror icon here from The Sixth Sense to Hereditary. She has real acting chops, though, too. I mean, if you've seen Little Miss Sunshine, you know what I mean. She rules. Imogen Poots, is that how you say her name? Anyway, she's also horror icon in 28 Weeks Later, also in Green Room with Anton. I think she's a little more standout of a character in Green Room than in this, but I think she's great still. And then you have David Tennant as Peter Vincent. I won't get into the actual character of Peter Vincent, but David Tennant is great as this character, right? You can't deny his portrayal isn't executed well. This genre in general is kind of like one of my favorites, like being suspicious of the neighbors being possibly murderers or vampires or monsters or whatever. Other movies that come to mind, obviously the original Fright Night, but it goes back to Rear Window from Hitchcock, which brings me to Disturbia and The Burbs and this remake. No matter how you slice it, I like these types of movies. The setting change from Iowa to Las Vegas is interesting. I don't hate it. I can see why they did it. The soundtrack is part good, part bad. I will say that. It's a lot of indie from the time. Foster the People, Young the Giant, MGMT. That Hugo banjo cover of Jay-Z's 99 Problems, you know what I mean? It's very much a sign of the times, I will say that. There are new scenes in this movie that aren't in the original, but there's also homages to the originals. I'll give you some examples. So, the scene in this movie where Charlie is snuck into Jerry's house and he's rescuing his neighbor, or at least he's trying to. Not really in the original. However, there is a scene where Charlie is distracted by what's going on next door with Jerry, and Amy is fully ready to go, you know what I mean? There's a few references to the original movie, nothing too crazy, nothing too cheeky, I don't think. Jerry's always walking around eating apples. Evil Ed does say, "Oh, you're so cool, Brewster."
You're so cool, Brewster.
The feel and vibe of this movie is such a sign of the times that's a big reason I actually do like it. Now, I don't love all the music, but it makes you feel like you're in that era again. Let's get into some of my negatives for this movie. Just some things that I can concede to you. Peter Vincent in the original, being a sort of quasi-Hammer-style horror movie guy, horror host, is worlds better than Peter Vincent being like a Chris Angel wannabe. That being said, I think David Tennant does a good job with what he was given. And I think that's a heavy reason why it was even set in Vegas, so they could do that. Another negative is, this movie was released in 3D in theaters. Again, 3D was back and big when this was released. You can still see some movies in 3D in theaters. I don't understand it, but because of that, there's a lot of annoying-ass CGI blood in this movie. There's practical blood. There's great practical effects, I believe done by Greg Nicotero, if I'm not mistaken. But there is an excessive amount of CG blood as well. There's a bunch of CG shots, just like there's this one particular shot where Charlie is leaving Peter Vincent's and he's in an elevator, and the shot looks like it is almost a great shot, but it also just looks CGI'd to fucking shit. So, I'll concede there as well. There are moments where I'm like, fucking A. We could have had a really good looking shot here, but for some reason we don't. Overall, I definitely think this movie deserves an apology. It's not as good as the original. Almost no horror remake is. I can count with one hand, the list of horror remakes that are better than their original counterparts. But it would take me fucking a good sheet of paper to list out every horror remake that I think is decent and worth watching. And this one, I think, is even a little bit above that. I actually had a fucking fantastic time watching this, and I think I've got to upgrade it to Blu-ray. That's how much I enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen Fright Night 2011 in a long time, maybe since it was in theaters, go back, give it another watch, give it a little forehead kiss, and apologize. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.